Hello and welcome back to another video. In this video, I wanted to continue our discussion on from our previous videos that I've been uploading here on YouTube. So in these videos, I have been uh, trying to conduct something called intelligent investigation, that is trying to understand what the mind is and how it is relating to the world outside in the universe. So we in the previous videos we have established that the mind works, that this existence is on three spheres: the gross sphere, the mental sphere, and the subtle sphere, and some spheres which are beyond the mental sphere. So the mental consciousness that we see and are able to interact with is only very limited. That is, if we imagine an iceberg on top of a lake or a water body, then 1 by 7th of it is on top of it, and the rest of the iceberg is just underneath the surface of the water. It's not visible to us. So what we see and what we interact with and what we call ourselves is that 1 by 7th of what we are consciously able to see and uh, experiment with. So what I am doing through these videos and what we do in this channel is that we go through this 1 by 7th of what we are able to see and interact with, and try to uh, intelligently investigate to the nature of the mind. That is, try to interact with and get the truth out of this, the thing that is beneath the surface. So now let us understand the statement that we only see in others what we lack in ourselves. So this is a very profound statement, and it can help you understand the nature of the mind. So what the mind sees in the world is only what it lacks. So what I mean by this is you can do this experiment yourself, and the easiest way to do this experiment is to go out in a crowd and look at people and look at how your mind is judging all these people. You can talk to a stranger in a crowd and try to understand how your own mind is trying to get the words that are coming out of this mind. So what I mean by this, you can also see how you grasp to certain words and ignore certain other words, and so you can also see that if you lack money, you'll suddenly start seeing all the rich people in the world. If you lack happiness, you will start seeing all the sad people in the world, and it goes on and on. Whatever you lack, the mind seems to find uh, the person or the method or the way to find this fill this lack thereof. But but the mind cannot understand that it will never be able to get uh, full-fledged satisfaction by gaining things. So the ego clings to things. Now what I mean by this is the word clinging needs to be understood. The mind is very slippery. That is, it likes to create identities as long as it knows that it exists. It finds satisfaction in knowing that it exists in by clinging to identities. So these identities uh, can be created by the mind at through the events that happen in the world. So first, let us investigate into the first statement that has been made here, that the mind always looks at what in others what it lacks. So if you go and experiment this, which you can do certainly, and which I myself have tried and have come to the following conclusions. So, the first thing the mind did was try to go in a crowd or society that does not that is not close to your home. So, this was the first thing that the mind decided unconsciously. So, it did not want to go and talk to a stranger that is near the house that you are living, because it had a deep-rooted sense of ruining or tarnishing the your name. So, so what I mean by this is, and you can find the traps that the mind lays during this procedure, and how the mind tries to escape certain things and uh, certain uncomfortable feelings by adapting a different ideology in a different method. And as soon as the mind is escaping comfortable zones and trying to avoid uncomfortableness, that is the point where you need to catch it. That is where the insecurity lies. So, for example, in this case, the insecurity lied in achieving approval from the neighbors. So, this is also, you can investigate intelligently into this nature and into why this mind is afraid of getting bad approval from the neighbors, is because of a very uh, deep-rooted thought, or very deep-rooted belief that somehow uh, somehow is also based on your own limited beliefs, is somehow related to the name of the family. So, so we all do this in certain ways that we have been taught by our parents to not tarnish our uh, name, and this is usually related to an event in our childhood. It could be a nice event where you were taught nicely, or where you were taught how to behave in a society, or it could be a traumatic event where you, as a sensitive person, were forced to behave properly in the um, society, and this event is repeating again and again in your mind, and this is something some this is a kind of a mechanism which you can call an approval mechanism, which is very deep rooted in your mind now. So now, whenever you go out into the neighborhood, you feel that you have to behave in a certain way, because this is now deep rooted, and it is actually working beneath the surface. So now that this is beneath the surface, you are only seeing that you are seeking for approval, but you're not really seeing the root of this, that the mind has been trained. I hope you are getting the gist of what I'm talking about here. So this experiment can be done by that should be done in order to get through the the mind's limitations, especially when it's trying to escape an uncomfortable situation, especially when it's trying to escape an uncomfortable situation. So in this case, the approval system is somehow miscalibrated. So a lot of the things that are working behind the scenes are uh, miscalibrated, and that is why we are facing a lot of mental health issues. It is because a lot of things, like for example, here in this example, this approval system that is obviously it is required to behave in a society. It is not bad somehow, but this miscalibration is leading you to very unnecessary um, judgments. So this approval system that is automated by your mind now is somehow at reacting when it's not supposed to react. So so now what you can do is when you can go to the root of this situation, this you can go to the root of your belief and try to calibrate it again accordingly. Now that we see that there is this event related to this approval system, you can go to the event and repeat this event again and again, or try to understand and calibrate this approval system accordingly. Um, so for some uh, people, they they have they have continuously been repeating this approval system, which is not really necessary at some point. And if you really want to transform your life, you will have to evaluate these things very deeply. Now that this is related to an event in your childhood, we can also try to understand why this is happening by looking at the event. Now, this event is when you encounter this event and when you get to the point that you recognize this event from memory, there are two things that the mind can do. It can either blame or it can try to forgive the person. So, the forgiveness is the best path, but let's also look at what blame is, why we try to blame people. This usually happens when the mind wants to victimize itself. Again, I'm not saying that the judgment of blame is not required in the society. Of course, it is required to blame people to bring them to justice. But sometimes the calibrations are wrong in our own minds. So let us look at blame and how we blame others when really it's not necessary to blame them. For example, if you find yourself blaming a person, look at the root cause of why you are blaming this person. It's usually because they have done, and what you call life is mostly your mind, your own mind. There is nobody out there who influences you or who manipulates you or who is trying to disturb you in some way. Uh, Mostly people are just by themselves and they are all caught up in their own minds too. So what you call life is your own mind, and this mind usually um, has a lot of miscalibrations. So when we look at this term called blame, we see that we are blaming someone only because there is a feeling of victimizing yourself. So there was probably an event in your life which caused uh, huge emotional trauma to you, and now you are blaming the person for this emotional trauma, which which is unnecessary, and it's not required to blame a person. Of course, if you have been unjustly violated in very harmful ways, then of course it is very required. But in most cases, the blame is happening unnecessarily. Um, I find that a lot of people blame their parents or blame the society, even though it is even though the parents are dead, or even though they are not doing anything about the society. Even if the society behaves 100% according to their will, they will eventually find faults in the society. So this blaming is usually identifying yourself to a victim personality. So, what I mean by this is that if you want to be emotionally strong, you need to be able to look at your traumas, look at the events that happened in your life that shook you to your core, and live them again and again in your mind. Try to repeat them again and again in your mind. This is the only way you can become strong emotionally. It is by going through that emotional trauma again and again and looking at those things. So again, we have also discussed about how impressions are caused in the mind and how to get rid of impressions and what is also called samskaras in the yogic traditions and also called shuk in the Sufi traditions. And the easiest way to get rid of these impressions and um, these personalities is to go through them again and again. The more you go through them again and again, and which is done by your mind, sometimes automatically and sometimes um, unautomatically, if it is unconsciously, um, it is done to exhaust these impressions. So when these impressions are exhausted, you become impressionless. And we have also looked at how these impressions are caused and at what levels these impressions are caused. So let's get back to the first statement that we were talking about earlier. That is, in order to see which level you are in these spheres, that is, the gross sphere, the subtle sphere, and the mental sphere, in order to see which level you are in, it is easy if you look at others. That is, if you go in a crowd and try to look at what your mind looks at when you look at a person. So, for example, if your mind looks at them objectively, like it looks at a human being as a body, then you are stuck at the gross level. Of course, there is a fluctuation between the levels, and sometimes you look at a person through their mind and see their mind instead of seeing their body. Sometimes you see them as a subtle body instead of seeing them as a gross body. But you can see your own level by looking at what you are seeing in people majority of the time. So if you are looking at a person and seeing them as a body, then you are stuck at the gross level of the body. I won't say you're stuck at the gross level. I'll say that you are in the sphere of gross level. If you see the person as a mind, then you are in the mental sphere, and if you see a person as a emanation of energy, then you are stuck at the subtle body, and you yourself look at yourself as a subtle body. And then comes the beyond levels, which we will not go into the deeper details of this because most of the things that are beyond are unconscious, and I have given you a way here to record your unconscious actions by looking beneath the surface. Always remember we are only able to interact with 1/7 of the uh, interface here. The deeper things are remain hidden that are beneath. And in this channel, I talk about a lot of processes that are that can help you recognize these patterns that are deeper than rooted deeper than ourselves, and look we can look uh, through intelligent investigation. We can look deeper into our own minds and what is hidden in the unconscious. This is also a method used by many psychoanalysts, and Carl Jung used to emphasize shadow work and inner work, which is also a method that can help you um, battle your own mind and try to calibrate your mind again in terms of how you want to live your life and what you want to achieve in life. And there have also been a lot of other traditions which try to bring this unconscious into the conscious and manipulate this consciously so that the what remains beneath the surface remains pure. And usually, what remains beneath the surface is what comes up eventually. Uh, so, in order to clear your mind and purify your mind, it's very important to do this inner work, which uh, which eventually you will find by doing meditation or by doing a lot of exercises like writing or painting can also bring a lot of subconscious memories that are hidden inside. So, uh, so I want to conclude this video for now, and we will continue our intelligent investigation about different terms and about different aspects of spirituality again in the next video. Thank you for watching this video.